Welcome back. Welcome back.
I'm your host, Renita.
And I am Jermaine.
And today we're going to do another check-in. I think these are important. We personally do them every week, but every few months or so, I think it's important to just check in with you guys, the audience, and kind of say where we are at in life with everything that's going on.
Yeah, and always try and refer back to you guys and provide some type of value to you guys with regards to this. So it's something, like she stated before, it's something that we do once a week, and we want to sort of kind of do it with you guys, and we encourage those of you who are listening that you do it as well.
Yeah. One of the things that we've discussed recently, we've been back and forth on probably for the last 3 years, even though our twins are 3, is having more kids.
Having more kids, okay.
Yes. Okay. So, today, this is something that you wrote down. Today, I am not wanting to have more kids, personally, today. Okay. Now, tomorrow, that could be different. Next week, it could be different.
Right.
But my baby fever is always, like, in and out, you know. Yeah, sometimes I'll see something on my phone, and I'm like, oh, I want another one. And then I'll have a day like today where the twins were being a hot mess in the morning, getting them out the door, and then going to work and all that. I'm just kind of over it.
Okay. And see, for myself, I don't want any more kids at all. 5 in a blended family is a lot. But within our household, there are 3 constantly with us, and 2 of them are twins.
And they're boys.
And they're a handful. And I'm not even watching them the way that you watch them, and I believe they're a handful, and I don't want any more kids. But I think that me and you, we sort of kind of go back and forth. Not me wanting kids, but you go back and forth on that topic. And sometimes you just be messing with me. Is that what it is?
Sometimes, but there's always truth in it. I think that I'm at a place now, though, where I definitely don't want to be pregnant again. Mm-hmm. But I do think I would love to adopt, or we should adopt. I think that's something that we should do once we're able to. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I am at when I do think about having another. I know I don't want to be pregnant. Now, I do go back and forth like, oh, maybe a surrogate. But I know that this body doesn't need to have no more babies, because it's rough on me. I get too big. I'm just not interested in that again.
Okay, so on the topic of having babies, and something that I just thought of, how important do you think that is with regards to either your significant other, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, to talk about?
I think that's important. I think that you should talk about it before you even become husband and wife, because if you're on completely 2 different pages, that can definitely cause conflict.
Right.
I know you were always saying, like, you were okay with no more.
Right.
And I was always saying, like, I'm definitely not okay with not having more.
Right.
So then it was like, compromise, we'll have 1 more.
Right.
And then, I had the twins. So that's why I'm like, okay, obviously, like, you held up your end of the deal, so I should be, okay with where we're at. But of course, because I don't have that little girl that's always like there, like, oh, I just want a little mini me. And because I know the boys are getting older and older, and they're just going to be like less and less about mom, because what happens with boys mostly, even though they always will need me, obviously, but it's just like less stuff that we'll be able to do on a day-to-day, go get our nails done, obviously not like that little stuff. But then I'm like, well, if someone just gives me a goddaughter, that will be fine too, you know. But I long for that, like having a baby girl where I can dress her in all the little frilly things and bows. So that's where I struggle. Okay.
Well, I'm good that you said that and we recorded that, because I'm definitely going to refer back to that. But the mere fact that I only wanted 1 kid, we ended up getting 2. And so then that made the compromise. So no more kids. So there you have it, you guys. There are no more kids. She wants to adopt and all of that. See. But I bent and broke to have another kid, and we ended up having 2.
Bend and break, though, like that's being a little
if it was up to me, though, we wouldn't have had any more kids. I was fine with the 3 that we had, personally. But I love the fact we have our twins. But I was fine there. You wanted more kids. Not only did you want 1 kid, you wanted 2. I remember talking to you about it, and so you got your 2, and we're good. So if I don't want to have any more kids, I won't feel bad. If
you shouldn't
the
feel
time
bad.
Comes down.
However, you should also understand my desires. And I feel like if you adopt, it's like everything has to be perfect. You can't. Obviously, if my tubes weren't tied, we could easily just have another baby, even if the timing isn't right. But when you adopt, like, the timing has to be almost perfect.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying on that end, and you're saying for me to come and listen to you what it is. But the reality is, I think I've paid my debt to society in this situation. Okay. I'm gonna refer everything to collections because that's what I do for a living. But I've done it. So now I think it's your time to compromise. So when it comes to another kid and I'm saying I don't want any, it shouldn't be any problem.
That's not a compromise. If you're saying you don't want any, I'm saying possibility. I think that you should just at least be open-minded. I think that I'll get over it.
I think I was open-minded
no,
in the
now
beginning.
but
in the other one I was open-minded.
I think that I will get over it. However, I'm not sure.
That's crazy. Okay. It goes to show you.
Goes to show you what?
Because the first time I didn't want any. You wanted. And so then we okay, fine. Let's have one. We end up getting two.
Okay.
And now you're sitting here saying that now that you have two and I don't want any more kids, I didn't want any in the first place. Now, because you want a girl, I should adopt. I should be okay and open with you adopting. And
you shouldn't be completely like, no. You should say, let's see when we get there. We have a long way to go. And you know me, I'm not trying to have no kids after a certain age. So it's like, we'll see.
I guess the people all have to see, but there is no we see. I'm telling you, and I'm recording it. I don't want any more kids.
And I'm telling you, and we're recording it. We'll see.
We'll see. But moving right along before I get all upset and we get upset.
Whoa, wow. Okay. Right. So then the next thing that we've been talking about and discussing is possibly moving out of San Diego County.
Right.
And specifically moving to Arizona.
Right.
Now this is something where I feel like I was always like, no.
Right.
You know, but after listening and being open-minded, I started realizing that might be best for our family.
Okay. And see, on the flip side, I was open to it. But the reality is, like I stated in that other podcast that we did, that if there's a way we can stay in San Diego, I would stay in San Diego. I know it's expensive here. I'm hoping there will be some type of correction in the housing market and the prices may come down, but they may not. Or obviously our money will go up, but I'm okay with not moving at all. If we could stay in San Diego, which is what you originally wanted, we would stay in San Diego. But Arizona is our second move, and there it's not too bad because everything will still sort of kind of work out. And my sister lives out there, so we do have that small part of the family there as well.
Right. And then next, let's just address the elephant in the room. Is, of course, we recently had the election.
Right.
And so I think that it's our duty to speak on it a little bit. I mean, 'cause it's affecting our lives just like it's affecting all of your lives.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know what you want to talk about exactly, how you're feeling. I mean.
Let's start with who did you think was going to win the eletion originally? Before we found out.
I thought Trump would win.
Right.
And I honestly thought he would win by a landslide.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think it would be close. Unfortunately, I'm going to be real with y'all. I think that this country has shown it's behind.
Right.
And I thought that he would just win. Now, mind you, we're not going to get into necessarily what our political beliefs are.
Right.
However, I will say that, unfortunately, what Trump stands for, regardless if that's what he is himself,
right?
But what he stands for and the people that support him, it just got a little bit scary to me. Like this is our country. Like that's unfortunate. Not like the Republican beliefs is not what I'm talking about. Just like the people, like the hate groups and the all that kind of supported him and came out saying like, yeah, that's our leader. Right. That was scary for me and just for my future and for my children's future.
Right.
But I thought that was going to prevail because it seemed like everybody, they were very bold to let us know. I support him and what he stands for. Okay.
And see, on the flip side with me, yes, if anybody asked me, I said that he would get a second term. The reality is, and we're thinking, today is what? What's today's date?
10th,
the 10th. And so they're saying he's the projected winner.
Right.
There's still more votes and still more stuff to happen, but the reality is chances are Trump didn't win and Biden will win.
Right.
But I ultimately thought that Trump was going to win. He'll get a second term. The reality is I thought if Biden won, it would be worse than what's been transpiring and what's happening.
Bro, I think the Trump supporters are not letting it go yet. I think that's why it's not worse. There's a lot that still has to happen. I think that it's also important as we speak of this, if people just research and because I had no idea there were so many things that happened after election.
Right.
Like they have to concede and all these different things that we just never think about because we've never had to deal with it. But just doing your own research and realizing that it's kind of not far from over.
Right.
Just because it says, oh, he's a projected winner. means almost nothing, and we still have a while to go.
Right.
And I think that's why it's not worse, as you say, because they know that, and they are not letting it go that Biden has won.
Okay. And when you say they, who?
Trump supporters,
okay, Trump
or
supporters.
anybody who voted for him, whoever that is.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And so, because that's my whole thing is I don't want, first of all, our listeners to think that, we're on one side or the other side, number one, and number two, that we think anything about certain things. The reality is what she brought up was the people who seem to be racist.
Right.
Following that. And yes, of course, as a black man, a black woman with black family and black children, you heard rumors and stuff of like a civil war and all this stuff happening. And it's been pretty quiet so far, but like you stated, it's not over. We had a situation, I believe it was Gore against Bush, his first term, if I'm not correct, but it was a similar situation. I'm not sure what two presidents it was in particular, but media said it was Gore who won. I believe it was Gore at the time who was running, and everyone thought Gore won, and then obviously what transacted is he lost. So some people are thinking that may be the circumstance in this situation between Biden and Trump.
Right. And also I would like to state that I'm not like, oh, yay, Biden won. I don't feel that either. And that's what's so weird. It's like in the past, it's like you had a winner and you felt relieved or you felt excited.
Right.
And I don't feel that. So I thought that was very interesting because, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to be, but I don't trust Biden and what he stands for, to be honest. I just don't feel like there's a lot of trust yet anyway. I feel like he has a lot of work to do to prove himself, to say that, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously the taxes will be a little different for everyone, depending on whether Trump wins or Biden wins. And there are a few things that add into that. But ultimately, one of the things that I've come to the conclusion is that whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, it don't really matter in that aspect. I just hope that we are prepared as Americans and within the personal situation as far as our family goes and so forth, that we're doing the things that are needed to obviously prepare our family and leave generational wealth, leave a legacy, and all of that type of stuff. Because whoever's in will only get 4 years, and hopefully over that 4-year period, we'll be able to obviously judge what has transacted, what has happened, and how we feel about them as a president.
Definitely. Okay, so moving on to our next issue.
Co-parenting. It's a very sensitive subject. And when you say co-parenting, you mean the other parents.
Right, like as you guys know, we're a blended family. So, of course, I had my son with somebody else. You had your children with somebody else. I mean, just briefly, not details, just kind of
what's happening and not necessarily badgering anyone. But
right. I mean, because we, are trying to do our best because obviously we're just telling you guys our point of view.
Right.
So we don't want to make it seem like anybody else's point of view is not valid.
Right.
But however, these are our experiences.
I feel like we have to give a disclosure.
Right. So for me personally, I've dealt very little with my son's dad.
Right.
Maybe the first, year, 9 months we were together. And then maybe those 3 years we kind of tried to co-parent. And then I didn't have any type of communication for 7-8 years after.
Right.
But he recently had reached out a few months ago saying that he wanted to have a relationship with my son.
Right.
And because we already 2 years ago, had him meet or reintroduced him to Keone,
right,
we felt like it was going to be necessary for him to do a little bit more this time than just to say this and come around just to not be around.
Right.
So we said, if you're serious, then, maybe you can offer some support for a few months, and then we'll go from there. And we talked to Keone's counselor, and she was saying that's a great start. And but he also should, write letters to Keone, and they should get to know each other like that first. And I decided, well, we'll get to that point if he does this first, And unfortunately, he didn't do it for the whole time.
Right.
I know some people said, I could reach out and, maybe I should ask. But to me, I felt like you're a grown adult. I thought you and I both were very clear on the expectations, and it didn't happen. So I don't feel like I need to reach out because my number hasn't changed. And my thing is, I guess the irritation's more so of the lack of communication, not because of the lack of money, because I've gotten no money for 12 years. I'm accustomed to that. I mean, technically, I guess I'm accustomed to the communication, but I would think that if you were serious, you would at least communicate if something changed that allowed you to not be able to provide what you agreed upon. Because I let him agree upon the amount. He kind of does it any day or the month. There's no like set date. So then just tell me, I'm not able to do it, but that doesn't mean that I'm not interested in moving forward with this relationship. But because there was not that, now I don't even know where we start, like where we would go from here. Because now I'm even more hesitant,
And see, and the reality is there is no freaking playbook. There's nothing to sort of kind of teach you that. It sort of kind of sucks because when you look at life in general, we go to school, they teach us what we're supposed to learn, and we do it. ABCs, all that type of stuff. And there's always like a blueprint. But the reality is once you hit life, there is no blueprint. Nothing is like really set or scheduled. Everyone's journey is going to be different. Everyone's circumstance and situation is going to be different. We recommend that if you are in a situation in particular, like Renita's situation, moms or even dads out there, I know that there are some of those out there, that you seek professional help. And that's what we've done. And then you just sort of kind of, make the decisions and so forth from there in that aspect. Now, as far as I go, my situation is completely very difficult. If you guys have listened to any of my other podcasts, it was a time that, I have 2 kids in a previous relationship, my daughter, who will be 16 actually on Friday, and my son, who is 10, he'll be 11 in February. And, communication again on both with regards to my son and my daughter, is not there at all. I haven't talked to my daughter, I haven't talked to her for about 4 or 5 months. And then my son probably for the last like 2 weeks. And it's a sensitive situation. I know, same thing. We don't, have the right per se thing to do. All I can do is, continue to show them that I love them and, text them like I do, keep trying to FaceTime them and talk to them. And, that's pretty much it with regards to that. I've made huge mistakes during the course of our marriage concerning this whole situation. And, all I can do is be thankful that you're still here with me during, all that has transpired. I wasn't the best, but we're learning. And, that's the key thing, is learning from, the mistakes and hopefully trying to grow from there. Is there anything else you want to add to that circumstance?
No.
Okay. So that's just what it is. That's where it's at. Those of you who are listening, if you guys are praying people, you guys are, if you guys are praying people, you guys are, just in karma type people or whatever the circumstance is, we both need positive energy coming to us. Send that positive energy, whether it's a prayer or just some positive affirmations or words or anything along those lines, concerning our situation, so that they get better, because they have to get better, and they will get better. I believe they will get better. Next subject.
Next topic. Just like we said, we're just telling you guys like a little chat of just what we're dealing with.
Right.
So the next thing are the holidays.
Okay. So Christmas.
Yes. So Christmas, has always been one of my favorite holidays, but I think it's even more fun when you're obviously a parent with specifically little kids.
Right.
I think it's just the magic that they see. And, I think Keone, this is probably his last year. He doesn't believe in Santa, obviously, but I think it's like his last year where he'll still be into all the stuff. And the twins, this is like the first year where it's like, what? Santa brings gifts, or, all the magic that comes with it, or we'll bring back the elf on the shelf.
Right.
Which I'm super excited to do, because now Keone can help me, so I don't forget like I did his poor little last year. But anyway.
I think that with Keone, though, he enjoys the festivities. I don't think it's going to be over with. He try, like most kids, they try and act all whatever.
Yeah.
But when the day comes and when little certain stuff, I think he'll enjoy it, because that's just the type of kid he is, to a certain extent. I know when it comes time to opening those gifts, the anticipation and all that. Right.
Kids like that part. But I'm talking about like all the stuff that comes with it, like going to look at lights. and making the cookies and watching the movies and, drinking the hot chocolate. Like, of course, I kind of feel bad because his last, magical year, I was pregnant with these twins, and it was just like, it was a struggle to get through. So I'm like, but now the twins are 3. They know exactly what it's all about.
Right.
I mean, of course, we also teach them about giving and, just being with your family as well. Right. So I'm just excited to see how they react to everything and seeing the lights and, all that. I'm excited for it.
Okay. So,
we did want to mention a resource that we recently found was Toys for Tots.
Oh, Toys for Tots. For those of you who are in...
all over.
It's all over.
You just can Google Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots, right.
But do so probably ASAP because as you get closer to Christmas, they cut off the sign up.
Right.
But it just allows you to get, whether you're struggling or whatever. I know this year in particular, a lot of us could use extra help. So you just go on there. You fill out the information for your child. They give you a date to come and pick up the item and the location.
Right. And
you're able to get your child, a few things.
Right. So for those of you who are able to possibly provide, or you may need a little extra help, Toys for Tots will be a great thing to go to and to help you out with regards to that.
Because they also have drop-off bins. So you can also, when you Google, it will tell you where to drop off toys as well.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So those of you who want to donate.
Right.
Okay, perfect. So that's a good check-in for this time. Okay. So thank you guys for listening. As always, you can find us on Facebook at Books, Dreams, and Financial Things. Instagram, Books, Dreams, and Financial Things. YouTube is growing. Same thing, Books, Dreams, and Financial Things. Check us out there. Obviously, if you guys are looking, if you have any delinquent accounts, you're looking for somebody to do any collecting on that. I've been in that industry for 15 years. Barrett and Associates, just email, you could send me a message on any of those platforms and it'll get to me and, I can help you out with regards to that. And then I'll let Renita talk about hers.
Yes. And if you have been interested in the keto diet and you want to possibly start, or you've been doing it for a while and you want like a restart, or maybe you want to maintain, come join me on my page at frugally_keto on Instagram, or my website, frugallyketo.com. I'm also coming out with a holiday cookbook. So if you want to stay in ketosis over the holidays and not gain back all that weight that you've lost, that will be coming out in about a week or so.
Okay, great. So we're constantly always trying to build. We're constantly doing what we're doing, but we want to be encouraging to you guys out there. Whatever it is that your dreams are, whatever it is that you want to do, just do it, right?
Right.
Okay, well, thank you guys for listening, as always, and be great.
Bye-bye.